And one of the biggest contests we are watching tonight is the race for governor. This is a primary, and we have a team of reporters live in Knoxville and across Middle Tennessee. Tonight, we hope to know the Republican and Democratic nominees who will face off in November. And we begin with the GOP. There are four top-tier candidates. They are Bill Lee, Diane Black, Beth Harwell, and Randy Boyd. And we begin our live coverage in downtown Knoxville with 10 News reporter Shannon Smith, who is with the Boyd campaign. Shannon?
John, the Boyd campaign isn't here quite yet. Randy Boyd has a pretty packed schedule going around Knoxville today, hitting those polling locations, trying to get the last votes he can. Now, Randy Boyd, a Republican governor candidate, like you said, is from Knoxville, grew up in South Knoxville, went to UT, and he's hosting his campaign party here tonight. He's the only governor candidate who's actually going to be in Knoxville tonight. Now, he had a lot to do with Governor Haslam's last term. He served as a special advisor on higher education as well as community development. He's really big into business and wants to make sure that businesses grow here in Tennessee. Now, he's hoping tonight this campaign party at Jackson Terminal downtown will turn into a victory party, but only time will tell as those poll numbers continue to come in. Now, while I'm in Knoxville, we do have a team in Nashville. I'm going to send it to Mark Salinger, who's covering Bill Lee's campaign. Mark.
Hey, Shannon, thanks so much. Like you said, we're in Franklin, Tennessee, about 45 minutes south of Nashville, where Bill Lee will host his election night watch party here in the next couple of hours. Now, the candidate is not here yet, but I was speaking with one of his campaign managers and spokespersons, and she was saying that they are confident in how this day is going and are confident that they will come out on top once all those votes are tallied up. Now, Mr. Lee has campaigned as a political outsider, hoping that his experience as the CEO of a company as well as a farmer will convince voters that he is the best to lead the state. We want to send it now to Cole Sullivan in Nashville with the latest with Diane Black and Beth Harwell.
Thanks, Mark. As you said, I am here in Nashville near the Capitol building and Legislative Plaza. You can see those two behind me here over my right shoulder. I'm covering, as you said, both Diane Black and Beth Harwell tonight. Let's start with Diane Black. She was an early front runner in this race, took an early lead that's since tightened as the polls have tightened. She's a U.S. representative from this area, from here in Middle Tennessee, and she spent a lot of time talking about her endorsement from Vice President Mike Pence, as well as her closeness with President Donald Trump. Before she got into politics, she was a nurse. She graduated from Belmont here in Nashville, and then served in the Tennessee House before running for Congress in 2010. Her opponents have tried to use that insider part against her, saying that they need an outside voice in the governor's office. The other candidate I'm following tonight is Beth Harwell. She's the Tennessee House Speaker. She's served in that role since 2011. Her campaign has taken a little while to get some momentum. It's never really gotten that momentum, and as you may have seen if you've been watching the TV over the past couple weeks, she's really been outspent by her opponents. Tonight she's trying to beat those expectations, beat those odds, and take the governor's office. Before she was in politics, she was a professor at Belmont and graduated from Vandy, and as you said, she's been serving in the Tennessee State House since 2011. We'll have full coverage of both those races and all the governor's races coming up tonight. For now, let's send it back to Knoxville and John Becker. John?
Cole Sullivan on the story for us in Nashville. Thank you. On the Democratic side, you can see there are three candidates, two really top-tier candidates. They are Carl Dean and Craig Fitzhugh, and for more on their chances and their backgrounds, we turn to 10 News reporter Stephanie Haynes, who is live in Nashville as well, for a look at that. Stephanie?
Hey, good afternoon, John. These candidates are pretty similar in general on all of the issues, but let's start with Carl Dean. He's going to be here in Nashville tonight. Remember, he was the mayor of Nashville for about 8 years, and he, in his campaigning, has touted leading the city during the recession and the floods of 2010. He's also talked about bringing development to the city and all of that and so he's been big in education. He says that that's his number one priority. He's also big on Medicaid expansion. Now, his contender tonight is Craig Fitzhugh. Let's talk about him. Fitzhugh is from West Tennessee. He's a banker, and he's served on the Tennessee legislature for 24 years, and now he's the House Minority Leader. He's been endorsed by the State Teachers Political Action Committee, and like Dean, Fitzhugh is also big on education, but he's been critical of Dean on his stance on charter schools, but he also supports legalizing medical marijuana. There's also a third candidate here tonight, but we will keep an update on all of the Democratic updates here. We'll be here all night. The polls close here local time at 7, but stay with WBIR for updates. John, we'll send it back to you.
Stephanie Haynes live for us tonight. Thank you. We'll check in with you throughout the evening. And welcome to the stateroom. It is our headquarters for election results as well as analysis. Again, Tennessee is a big state. It has 95 counties, and geography is key to this election night, especially in this race for governor. We're going to use this state map behind me to explain who needs to do well in what region to win. And for example, you just saw where all these candidates are from. They are from parts scattered across the state. Craig Fitzhugh up north of the Memphis area. Also, we have a bunch of candidates gathered here in Middle Tennessee. You see Bill Lee, Beth Harwell, Carl Dean, Diane Black, all of them sort of clustered there. And the other person we're watching tonight, of course, Randy Boyd. He's the hometown boy in Knoxville. So this map is going to help us explain the importance of geography this evening, and we'll go to our analysts throughout the night with that as well. Our live coverage begins tonight at 8 o'clock. You'll see live results and reaction from the candidates, also from those watch parties on 10 News 2 and WBIR.com. You can also watch Facebook, and we'll be live on Channel 10 right after the NFL preseason game. We'll also be sending alerts through the web app to keep you updated with the final results, and to make sure you get those, you'll want to subscribe to that category in the app, and you can find instructions on how to do that on our website, WBIR.com.